1, 2, 3.
Kate Mila Falls, you're very welcome along to the Brian and Kieran Warfield podcast, the ramblings of two Irish balladeers, featuring Brian Warfield of the fierce and mighty Wolfetones and his son Kieran, that's me, of the band Catalpa, and also of the Bandwagon Bus, Dublin's only musical ballad tour on wheels. So sit back, relax, grab a tea, coffee, beer or wine or whatever takes your fancy as we go rambling through life's misty foggy dew, through stories, songs, history, politics, life on the road and just a general bit of crack.
And on her old melodian, how sweetly she could play. Goodbye, and don't you sigh, and down by Texas way. But when she turned Sinn Féin, my heart near burst with pride. But to hear her play the soldier song down by the Liffeyside, and we'll have little children and rear them neat and clean, to shout up their public and talk about Sinn Féin, to emulate their outlaws who England's lost their faith, and to turn their guns against the Saxon Huns down by the Liffeyside. And then to raviolis together we will go. The rapture there that filled our hearts no poet e'er could know. We filled ourselves with double ones, and Mary sobbed and sighed, "Sure I live forever
eating chips down by the
Liffeyside."
Down by the Liffeyside, that's song number 6, I think. Is it 6?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Could be anything.
Song number 6 off the 1966 album Up the Rebels by the Wolfetones, and that song was written by the great Peader Kearney, who also wrote the Irish National Anthem.
Yeah.
He wrote the words to it, but he didn't write the music.
No, that the music has had many lives. And,
it has.
Many lives and many names and many versions. And I think that's the way the old ballad writers used to do. They used to use a well-known...
Rob off each other.
Yeah, used to, a well-known air and then put words to it. It still happened. It happened with like Sean South or Gary Owen. And it happened with many, many songs that they just... put words to it, but I have to say I never wanted to do that, and every song I ever wrote, all 120, 130 songs, all have original layers. But I never thought that was a good idea. I think every good idea deserves its own melody.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen years ago, but...
it's a very easy option though, isn't it? Because the tune is already known, so you're only putting words to a tune that's already well known if you're robbing someone else's tune, you know. So no, I always like to put new music too.
You do, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think that makes it really original. That that there's a new tune, a new idea, new words, and the whole song takes on a new life.
And it's tough. It's not easy, is it? I'm currently trying to write a song for a film that Paul Larkin's doing. called Jim the Tim. Jim the Tim was his dad.
Oh,
so,
really? Yeah.
So he has this big badge with Jim the Tim on it that someone got made up from. So it's a sort of mixture of about people's experiences of going to games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So originally, I started off with an idea about the break clubs and where they used to go on the carriages and stuff like that. And then when I heard Paul talk, or he put up about his dad, then I was thinking, well, maybe I should make it about him. But I'm struggling with it at the moment. So
it's tough, not easy.
Because the original one I put music to, and I was like, no, that's not good enough. Everything, but nothing will ever be good enough for you when you think about it. Because you always want to find it better. You always think I can get a better chorus there, or I can get But at some stage, you got to say.
You have to accept it.
And we sort of got a timeline for this, so I don't have a lot of time to get it together.
Well, it is very, very difficult, and people don't realise how difficult it is. It's like when I was doing Celtic Symphony, for instance, I was asked to do that about 86, and it was Tommy Grant and John Aiken and a couple of the lads were saying, "Oh, yeah, got to write a song for the anniversary," and I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll do it." But it took me a year, and every time I had something done, I just didn't like it, and I kept going back to the drawing board and eventually I got it.
Yeah. Well,
and when you have it, when you have it, you really know that. Yeah, that's it. I got it.
Yeah, like I wrote a song about Belfast. I wrote it when I was up there. When I was working with Abercrombie, and I just arrived there early because traffic getting into Belfast early in the morning used to be it was terrible, like
Dublin, I suppose.
So it was actually worse because once you hit Sprucefield shopping centre there, the traffic the whole way in, like you were barely crawling the whole way in. It could take you an hour and a half to get into the city centre from there. So I used to go up early and I just walk around the town, and I walked around the town. I was just going, geez, I wonder what it would be like, walking around here in the years gone by. And so I wrote the song, and I'm completely happy with the music now. I've wrote the music maybe 3 or 4 times now, different versions of it. So looking forward to recording it now up in Keeves. But to get back to Down by the Liffeyside.
The fish and chips, and that shows you.
Yeah. Well, Ray and chips now cost you a fortune. You wouldn't get that in a Chippers.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, you can get it, but
you can get it, yeah.
It's like a tenner or something.
I know. It's paid everybody waiting.
Yeah.
No, the fish has gone dear, and there's no doubt about it. And it's very hard to get in Ireland for a bloody Irish nation. I think all our fish, you go to Spain or you go to France or you go to any of these continental countries and the array of fish is unbelievable.
Yeah, but that's the wonderful deals our government
the wonderful deal their government has done for
fishermen.
Yeah. And, you can't get the stuff over here in Ireland. At least I can't go to a supermarket or whatever. They don't have a great big fish counter like they have in continental countries. And it's because I love fish. Me too. I try and have it twice. My great grandfather was a fisherman, so I think.
Are you going to talk about the 2 boats again?
He had 2 boats.
I think we might have heard that one before.
Yeah,
right.
And not alone that, but every Friday we used to get. My granddad used to bring home from the fish market a huge big bag of prawns, Dublin Bay prawns.
Lovely.
And they'd be boiled in a big pot. Yeah. And we'd be eating them, shelling them, and for the rest of the night. And that was the huge big treat. But we loved them.
The whole fun of eating them is actually de-shelling them and taking them.
And the shells are quite prickly and all that. Yeah. But when I always remember we were down in Cork with our first. It was our first. One of our first visits to Cork was with our new manager, Cora Janssen. He was from Oslo, Norway, but he was very fond of fish. So we went to the fish market there in the English market. And he bought like a big, huge bag of prawns.
Yeah.
And I always remember Tommy was going, "Oh, how could you eat them? And I was delighted. Oh, yeah, great.
More for me.
There's a like, no Nagel didn't like, how can you eat them things? And I think it was myself and Derek and Cora Janssen and his wife, Olive. We had a feast of Dublin Bay prawns.
Poor Tommy and Noel starving.
Yeah. But, you know, that's the way a lot of Irish people were. They didn't like fish.
Yeah.
And the smell of fish, you know, put them off. But I loved the fish. I loved them Dublin Bay prawns. I could eat them forever.
Yeah, and because we were in France for the 2016 Euros. And we were in La Rochelle, and after we did the gig for the guys in the General Humbert pub, it was an outside gig. It was in a square just in front of the pub. And after he said, go over and I have a meal prepared for you, ready for you. So a couple of bottles of wine came out with this huge big platter of
seafood and
but everything like that you can think of. But all like a lot of shellfish. And as soon as Phelim seen it, he was like, no,
thank you.
Very picky, very picky. I was going, great. So myself and Ray, the drummer, like, there was some things now that were what do you call them? They're in like a sea snail.
Yeah, Kerrywinkles.
No, they're bigger. They're like big, huge things.
Whelks.
Whelks, yes.
Yeah.
Jesus, you'd want some chompers on you to get through them.
Well, I always remember, and you know, one of the first times we went to Brittany.
Yeah.
And we were playing over there. It was at one of the great festivals there, and the committee brought us out for a meal. And a meal in France is like takes 4 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
And we go down lunchtime, and and they put up, I'm not joking, a platter of seafood. Once again, there was lobster on it. There was all kinds of stuff. There was like Dublin Bay prawns. There was mussel cockles. There was all periwinkles, everything. And it was heaped up on a plate like it was huge. And with lemons, and it looked very colourful, and seaweed and everything. And it was such a marvellous looking dish. Everyone kind of picked off it. Like you picked it. You had
what you liked, what your favourites were.
Yeah, pick it, pick what you like off the plate. But it was absolutely fantastic. And still at that time, Tommy or Noel didn't like fish.
So you were overfed.
And of course, they knocked down the wine with it, and they were all connoisseurs of the wine. Try this one, Brian. Try that one. Yeah, you like this one.
This before you went on stage, wasn't it?
Oh, no, this the day off before.
Right.
Yeah, the day before.
I was going to say, Jesus. You'd be like Wimpy going on, Popeye going on stage.
You wouldn't remember the words down by what?
Yeah.
But, they appreciate their fish much better than we do here in Ireland. And they cook better, and they make wonderful dishes. And, I guess because of the Irish got to more, the famine, and food being scarce and hard to get, the great cuisine that could have been in Ireland did not exist.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have the food, to make that happen. But I think the new generations, I have to say that, the new generation of chefs in Ireland are fantastic. They do great. You go around the country and you get great chefs, great and wonderful dishes, very inventive, new, different, Irish, use of great Irish ingredients. So I think, now that we became a little bit more prosperous and control of our own destiny, along with that, our skills in cooking and in food have come on tremendously.
Yeah, definitely.
Far from the days of the Italians, come on, you're one-on-one.
And the only tunes the original tunes that came from was called Down by the Tarnyard Side.
Tarnyard Side, yeah.
Do you remember that song? But before that, there's an earlier one that was called the Slaney Side.
It was all similar kind of.
And there was also a version of it called the Piper of Crossbarry.
I don't know that one.
Which refers to the 1921 Cork, I think, 3rd West Cork Brigade endeavours down in Crossbarry. Is it Crossbarry or Crossbarry?
I don't know.
I'm not too sure either. I'm going to go with Crossbarry.
Yeah.
Anyway, the first version I could see of recorded was Dominic Bean.
Yeah, that's
And I
true.
didn't know he was Peader Kearney's nephew.
Nephew, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Just so amazing family, like what they've given to like literature and
absolutely, yeah. I think it was on his mother's side. Yeah, obviously because Peader Kearney, she was a Kearney, obviously.
Yeah,
and they were working class family, like they moved out of the tenements in Dublin up to Crumlin.
Yeah.
And there's still a plaque outside the house in Crumlin where both Dominic and Brendan lived.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course for people, because we have a lot of people listening in Sweden and places like that, they'd want to know why it's called Anna Liffey.
Anna Liffey.
Yeah, it's down by Anna Liffey. I love an I did stray.
Yeah. I'm not certain about that now. But you probably researched it.
I knew anyway before, but no, because I did from when I remember they used to have Anna Liffey in the Floozy and Jacuzzi in O'Connell Street.
Yeah.
She's now in the
Croppy Acre.
Croppy Acre, just up by the Croppy Acre. But for those that don't know, it was a statue that used to be in O'Connell Street that was it was a beautiful bronze lady that was in a pool of water.
And a fountain. Dropping over her.
Yeah, but it became very dirty and people put loads of shampoo and stuff in it. And O'Connell Street.
They were always messing with her, I know that. They called it the floozy and the jacuzzi, and they called it
the whore in the sewer.
The whore in the sewer. Like all the statues in Dublin get a name very fast, like... what's it? The prick with the stick.
the spire.
They named them all as they go around, but that's just a kind of a Dublin thing.
Anyway, she got moved because of all the antisocial behaviour. So she's you have to go down by Houston Station to see her now. But Anna Liffey comes from the Irish. It was anglicised, of course.
So it's Ellen, is it?
Ellen, Ellen Liffey.
Yeah.
And then it was
the river Liffey.
Like all other words in Irish, they were anglicised and then became Anna Liffey.
It's the same as Avon. Avon is a river, the river Avon we know is the river Avon, but it means river.
Yeah. Ellen.
Came from the Gaelic as well.
Yeah. Well, a lot of English words did they?
Loads of English words. Like, you wouldn't even know, like cop. Cop means a person in charge.
Yeah.
Things like cantankerous is another two Irish words, meaning head, ceann.
Yeah.
Cantankerous means an old head.
An old angry head.
An old angry head. It's like wanker. Is another Irish word, uwanker. Uwanker. It comes out as wanker, but uwanker means a self-abuser in Irish. So there's thousands and thousands of Irish words in the English language. And what happens is there's a great book written about it, and I think I mentioned at one stage I was going to read a few of the words out of it. But it's amazing what Irish words are now in English. Like things like it's smashing. People say, "Oh, that's smashing, isn't it?" It's smashing. It's smashing. It's very good.
Smashing.
Yeah, it's smashing.
Yeah, very good.
And a lot of that word is used a lot in England, more in England than it is in Ireland. Smashing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's smashing. Yeah. And so there's a lot of words like that came into the English language through the Irish people speaking their language both in England and in America. And I think the book, it's Daniel Cassidy that wrote a book, is How the Irish Invented Slang. And, it's he goes through all the different words that were brought to the English language through America. For instance, like, remember the song, "Oh gee, what I'd give the world if you say." Yeah.
Who sang it?
Yeah. But I don't know, it's back in the 50s or 60s. Right. But gee is another Irish word. You know, oh gee.
Yeah.
You know, the Americans use it a lot. Oh gee, that's great, you know. Yeah. It means God. Oh dear. Yeah. Gee. It was pronounced G. Yeah. And that went in a lot. And then you hear G. Willikers. You hear that a lot in America. So they all come from the Irish language and the use of the Irish language. Remember that most of the people that emigrated to America from the early 19th century, early 1800s, right up to the early 1900s, spoke Irish. And even like when I arrived in New York first in 1966, there was notices up on the underground station in Irish.
Really?
Yeah, as now you can find that they're in English and in Spanish.
Right.
But back then, because New York was such an Irish city, they had the notices in the Gaelic language.
And that's another thing I've been noticing now at the Olympic Games, the amount of people that have Irish surnames.
Yeah.
Like even in Puerto Rico, there was a girl, in the Puerto Rican girl there, and she had a double barrel name, but the first part of it was Spanish and the second part was Quinn.
Yeah.
Like, it was like unbelievable. Even a lot of Australians, a lot of Americans, obviously, and so many English.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure. Like without the Irish in England, there'd be nothing.
I don't know about that, but
yeah,
but it's amazing the amount of.
But look at all the pop stars in England that came from Irish heritage. It's a huge amount of them. I was going to research at one time and do a book about all the Irish pop stars in England, and you know, like Tommy Steele had an Irish background.
Who?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Who's Tommy Steele? Tommy Steele.
Yeah. When you go back the days, and he was a big star during the 60s, I think, and 50s.
All right.
Eddie Fury, not Eddie Fury.
I know the belly you're talking about. He's sort of Elvis-y quiff sort of head on him.
He's kind of an Elvis quiff guy, yeah. So, you know, there was a huge amount of them, and they all had an Irish background. And I remember when we were playing in London, in the National in London, we used to get all the stars up there. You know, Bananarama used to go up there. Siobhan, I think it was from Bananarama. And we get them all up there coming in, you know, to come up to the green room afterwards, and, you know, we'd have the crack.
She married your man from the Eurythmics, did she? Or something like that. She married someone...
I can't remember now. I wouldn't have followed, you know, their love lives. But yeah, a lot of them came up to the shows there, and with a great following of Irish people. And look at Dexy's Midnight Runners. You know,
well, you can hear the Irish influence in their music.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, there's so many. I'd love to do a research into it sometime and just see, you know, how many people have an Irish background, and you'd say there'd be a lot there. Yeah. Because they...
Elvis Costello. I know he's not from London, but he's originally from Glasgow, is he, or Edinburgh?
His dad is Irish. His dad with Ross had a big band at one stage, and Ross McManus he was a big band leader. Remember the days of the big bands, you know, and also a singer. So...
And his brother plays in a band in London. Well, he used to. The Bible Code Sundays. Did you ever hear them?
No, I didn't know.
Very, very excellent band. Sort of an Irish punk band, a bit in like the Pogues.
Yeah, well, Elvis started off as a punk rocker, didn't he? And so did you know. I think he kind of managed or looked after the Pogues at one stage. I know he was their recording advisor or whatever.
Yeah.
And I met him a couple of times, and a real nice fella. Yeah.
I went to see him in Belgium when he came to Belgium. All his crew came into my pub. He was playing with, it was Elvis Costello's and the Sugar Canes, I think.
Yeah.
And they were all American artists, you know, from down south.
Yeah.
And they So the sound guy that was looking after, he came in, he was looking for the Grand Prix, and it was one of those early morning Grand Prix. So I let him in and made him breakfast and all, and he was loving it, and he invited me out then to out to the show. So I was sitting in with the sound guy, lucky enough because there was a massive thunderstorm at the same time, it was an outdoor gig. And afterwards then they all came back to the pub, and we were feeding them with whiskey, and we had a great night. They took the instruments in, and they were going off to Germany the next day. And I think they left the pub around 5 or half 5.
Oh my God.
But I was just fascinated by the talent in them, even though they were all pissed, great.
Yeah,
I sent them off. I gave them a bottle of Connemara whiskey going off.
Really, yeah.
It was about 9 o'clock in the morning on the tour bus. Yeah, but just incredible. He was a great musician, I have to say, and really enjoyed his set over there. Very talented.
Good guy too. Good,
nice and his brother Ronan is a super guy too.
Never met him now, but
he played with the Bible Code Sundays, but he's got a new band now. I think it's called the Zeros or something like that. But brilliant band. I went to see them there about 2 years ago in a pub in Dublin. They were excellent. Really, really good. So I was
huge talent out there, isn't there?
There's massive talent, and a lot of it's been found on Facebook now since the lockdown.
Look at their own little, my little nephew now in London has a band called the Lock-In Band, and they're doing pretty good. They're flying at the moment. Yeah, fair play to them.
Brilliant, and they're very good at marketing themselves. That makes a huge difference.
Internet there and all that.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, I was going back to movies. I was watching, because I had a bit of time off. I've been watching a lot of movies and stuff like that. And you guys were in 2 movies. 2 of your songs were in 2 movies. In The Patriot Games, which was a movie in 1992 with Harrison Ford, Brad Pitt, Patrick Bergin, Samuel L. Jackson,
and the Wolfetones.
But you didn't make the soundtrack on the where they put their
because they'd be afraid it'd be banned.
Yeah. But it's some lineup. Of course, Sean Bean was in it, and it was originally based on Tom Clancy's novel, and Tom Clancy's novels are brilliant. And then the other one, of course, was with the late great Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting. When Patriot Games, it was a nation once again, I must say. So and then Good Will Hunting, it was on the one road. They were in an Irish pub, and it was background music. And of course, Robin Williams, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, who loves Ireland, and the great named Minnie Driver.
What was that one that we were also in that not Good Will Hunting? Train Spotting.
Wolfetones were.
Yeah, I think we were in either in the book or in the.
I must have been in the book.
It wasn't in the soundtrack.
I remembered it in the first one or the second one. No, there was 2 train spots.
I think the first one. Yeah.
I must check that out.
Yeah, I think it's the first one. Yeah,
great movie.
But I suppose we made the movies now and again.
The second one was better. Have you seen this second Train Spotting?
No, I didn't know.
They went to a Rangers club.
Oh, did they?
It's the funniest scene you'll ever watch. That I'll put it on for you after this. We'll have a look at it together.
Yeah.
It just sums up a lot of things that happen. But when you were talking about the Gortamore or the famine, I was up in Carlingford, my favourite place in the world at the moment. And we went into the graveyard that where Joe Biden's relations are buried. It's an really old graveyard there, just as you're. Where would it be? Just before you come to Grange, Irish Grange. There, I don't know where. It's a small little village, and so when I like going into graveyards and looking at headstones.
I used to do that a lot.
Yeah.
Now I
try to avoid them.
I try to avoid them for the next 20 years. And
you put the blinkers on when you're going past.
When I was young, it was no problem, but now I'm getting closer. No thanks.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of.
I still go in and if there's a particular memorial there, I want to see it. It wouldn't bother me. No.
Well, it's just the old headstones that I like going in and seeing, because a lot of them are quite decorative, and
and some of them have nice, nice little poems and things on it. Yeah.
But in this graveyard now, they had this. There was a lot of. It was almost like slate. Now they were very old headstones, but you could read them perfectly. Like, you know, the way on old stone, like granite ones, they go with the weathering on them.
Yeah.
But the one thing I was amazed at was the amount of old people that died.
Old.
You
mean the old people didn't die young?
The amount of old people that died. No, that the ages of the people that died in, around, and after the famine. Like, there was one chap there. It was 105 years of age, and he died in 1858.
Oh my!
So he lived through the famine, like, that was just incredible. Another fella, 95, and I was going, they mustn't have had a shortage of food up in Carlingford. I was thinking, well, but you weren't allowed fish though, were you? Because the landlords copped on to people selling kelp and stuff like from it, and then they declared the beach off limits.
Yeah. Well, I guess that happened too. But I mean,
or you had to pay the tax to the landlord of what you got. Like, because that was his land. You had to access through his land to get to the beach.
Yeah. Well, there were strange times indeed. I did a whole thing on fishing. You know, I wrote the CD-ROM on the famine, and I did a whole section on fishing. And one of the reasons they didn't fish was that when it became, you see, fishing around Ireland could only happen when the weather was fair. Like the boats weren't big enough and strong enough to go out. What happened was that during the Irish Parliament time, from 82 onto the Act of Union 1782 to 1801, when the Act of Union took place, the Irish government, the Irish Parliament at the time, gave a bounty to fishing. So they helped the fishing industry in Ireland. Then when the Act of Union took place, the English took the bounty from the fishing industry and gave it to Scotland, because they obviously didn't trust the Irish, and they didn't like the Irish, and they didn't want to be become too powerful or prosperous. So when they took the bounty off the fishing industry, the industry collapsed. Well, during the famine, there was inshore fishing, you know, within small distance from the shore, with currachs and things like that. And they fished, but it could be only done in good weather. So when the potato failed, they had to sell their equipment to buy food.
Yeah.
So with no equipment, then the next year when it came about and they could have got out fishing, they couldn't go out fishing because they never had the money to redeem their gear.
Yeah.
So it was a kind of a cycle of poverty that happened during that era. And it's disgraceful that they got no assistance, no help. No help was allowed if it made any contribution to Ireland. That's why they built the roads going nowhere. You know, it couldn't be of any use. So it was a terrible waste of money, and it wasn't England's money, by the way. It was taxed to the Irish.
Yeah.
The Irish had to pay the tax to feed themselves during the famine.
Yeah.
It's just an absolute disgrace, and there's no doubt about it. It was a policy of annihilation, extermination of the Irish people. And they were happy to get rid of the Irish people. The papers are full of glee at the fact that the Irish people were starving.
Yeah. Like I always say, like, a lot of English people don't realise that now, but it's starting to come out in documentaries and stuff like that on BBC, and they're almost appalled at what went on. Like, you know,
they don't know, and they never got that.
They don't get educated about it.
Mostly, like, I worked in England for a year, and you know, the guys I worked with, all nice guys and everything else like that, but this particular guy I worked with, I was a really sharp guy, you know what I mean, like a real Londoner, you know. But sharp guy, like very, I wouldn't say well educated, but very street sharp.
Yeah.
And he used to say to me, "You're from Ireland, eh?" Yeah. And he said, "How'd you get here?" I said, "Well, He said, "You come by train?" No, yeah, well, I came by train and by boat. Where you come from? Where's that? You know, he'd no clue of outside London. He'd no clue about geography or about, you know, where Scotland is. You know, the whole world was built around him.
Yeah.
And London.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah. It's like I was reading, someone was an English commentator or something saying if you go north of Hadrian's Wall, everyone hates the English. And someone said, well, the Hadrian's Wall is, you know, that would include the whole of Newcastle and Carlisle and all these other places that are south of the border, like, you know.
Yeah,
so.
but they probably hate Southern English guys.
Well, probably, yeah, maybe. Yeah. But I think he was talking about, you know, after the UEFA,
Scots,
after they got beat in the UEFA.
Yeah. Well, I know that a lot of the north Newcastle and a lot of these towns, they don't like London or the Londoners or anything like that. You know, the Jarrow Walk and all that, and you know, the closing of coal mines and the industry's gone and everything else. So they see that as London.
Yeah, they'll never forget that either, will they? Especially what Thatcher did when she had the police batting the miners.
Yeah. It was cruelty to their own people, and there's no problem doing that. There's no problem doing that at all.
Yeah. So I seen today up in Belfast they were having a pop-up walk-in vaccination centre, and anyone going in got a free ticket for failing a pubble.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I don't know whether it was your gig or what gig it was.
No, it wasn't our gig. No. We were sold out.
Yeah.
It sold out, actually. It sold out in an hour.
I know, but I think everything is sold out up there. Obviously, they kept tickets back for this to bribe the young people to come in.
Yeah, well, I heard they were opening up to bigger numbers.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the reason that there might be some extra numbers being given out.
I've seen the setup. They were starting to set up, I think, is the boxing on first? Is there a boxing?
I think it is Friday, yeah.
So they're setting up today first. They were showing the setup, and the stage looks absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's always amazing up there.
Yeah, it is great. They do a great job up there.
Yeah.
I have to say, anytime I've been up there, loved it. Even when it was just a tent, like, you know.
Yeah,
when I say a tent, it was a
huge tent.
The biggest tent you've ever seen in your life. I remember being up there one night and there was a massive storm and it was raining and there was muck everywhere. It was great.
I remember that.
It was great. Yeah. And everybody was getting stuck. All the cars were getting stuck afterwards. But hopefully you get the weather now.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, I have to say that we opened up sales for the New York shows next March 15th and 16th. And in the first hour, 360 tickets were sold.
Keep me one.
In New York, yeah. But anybody who wants to get a ticket, it might be around New York next March for hopefully St. Patrick's Day, the parade on the 17th, the Wolfetones on the 15th and 16th in the Town Hall. Town Hall is a fabulous theatre. Really, really great theatre. Old style, dates back to the 19th century sometime.
I had a look at it online when you mentioned it last time. Yeah. It's
beautiful. Yeah. But so there's a secret password that you need to put in when you go onto the site, and that is Famine 1845. So that allows you to get in and buy a ticket. Without that password, you have to wait on the general sales when they come about in a couple of months' time.
Very good. Little secret there.
A secret to get in there to the Wolfetones, because we knew it would be sold out very fast, so we wanted to give our friends and real fans an opportunity before.
So Famine 1845.
Famine 1845 is the password to get in.
Very good. I'm gonna.
And the site is Ticketmasters. Ticketmaster.com/Wolfetones.
Yeah.
And the other one is box office at townhall.org.
I'll tell you what, if you send me a link, I'll put them up on the the page.
Yeah, that's
the
great.
Ramble and Balladeers Facebook page, and I'll put it up on the Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Later on, but I will be there. I'm going to go to New York and for Patrick's. I'll probably try and get a few gigs around there when I'm
Yeah,
around
I think
there.
you will.
I know I'll still get gigs in the places I did there before, if they're still open. Well, when was the last time I was there? It would have been.
Well, I mean, Connolly's would be a great gig for you.
I know, it'll just be me by myself. I don't think the lads will go.
Would it not? No,
No, I don't think Phelan will be up for going away.
Well, you get a few guys that might want to go.
But yeah, definitely. I think I'll go across just for a change of scene. Like, we've been going to Scotland for the last few years before Corona.
Yeah.
And enjoyed it. Great fun over there. But I think going to do something different.
You done the Coatbridge Festival there, did you?
No, we did the Margaret Skinner there, but it wasn't St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't think it was St. Patrick's because it was too sunny. Yeah, it was definitely not St. Patrick's. I think that it could have been. I can't remember. But we did the Margaret Skinner Centre with Chris McGill from Adelante. You know the band Adelante?
Yeah.
Chris is a sound guy. Really good musician as well. So, what was I going to say? The Bandwagon, we're doing 2 GA tours coming up now. This Saturday will be for the Waterford and Limerick fans, and we'll be leaving Westmoreland Street at 2:30. So we want anybody coming that's coming up from the game to wear their jersey and bring their flags and let Dublin know who you're supporting as we're going around. And we've obviously be doing a lot of
that'd be great fun.
Limerick and Waterford songs. Not that I know many Waterford songs, but I know a lot of Limerick. And then the following Saturday, we're doing them before the Mayo and Dublin game.
Yeah.
So we've quite a lot of Dublin supporters on already, so we're looking for a few Mayo supporters to give a bit of stick and give a bit of edge to the
well,
band.
Mayo are knocking on the door now for the.
I definitely think this is their best chance to beat Dublin, but I feel that if they beat Dublin and Kerry beat Tyrone, I don't think they'll have enough to get past Kerry.
Do you not? Yeah. Well, if it goes that far, if it may go that far, I'll be supporting Mayo.
Yeah, I think
for sure.
I think Mayo have a good few young fellas coming in that haven't tasted defeat, so they'll be hungry for it. So you never know. Like, football's a funny game.
Yeah.
That being said, Dublin, but I just can't see it. After watching the last 2 games in Croke Park, I don't think they're fit. I just don't think they're as fit as they normally be. No, they just don't look at that. Honestly. Well,
I wasn't there, so
when you're watching it, like, you're going, these lads don't look as fit as they were. Like, before they had engines on them, like they were, never looked like
hungry.
Yeah. And they haven't scored a goal in 2 games now.
Yeah, well, that was amazing. Yeah,
that's a big. Like, normally Dublin would be knocking goals in for fun. Like,
Yeah. Normally more. Yeah.
So we'll see.
That's an interesting comment now. That coming from a big Dub fan like you.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's just me, but I just thought they looked lethargic the last 2 games now.
Yeah.
And then maybe a lot of them they've 5, 4, 5, 6 All Irelands, so maybe they're not ramping up till the semi-final, they're only playing you just don't know with Dublin, that's
they might have been just strolling in the park.
There's still a bit of mystery, but the problem for Dublin, I think, and I was looking in the programme when I came in, and I looked at the bench, and I've got it was only probably 4 or 5 names that I would say might get into another team. Whereas before, you could say the whole bench could go into any other team, So they've lost a lot of that power off the bench that they used to have, So they won't have that impact. Like, the bench only scored 1 point in the final on Sunday. So normally the bench would add 5, 6, maybe 7 points. So they don't have that power coming off the bench.
It's time yet, Kieran. Time yet. They might come. They might. They might peak at the right time.
Well, the Miners got hammered by Meath on Sunday down in Offaly. Was it Monday?
Well, that's Monday. A bad sign for up and coming.
They only scored 1 point in the first half and scored, I think it was 1-2 in the second half. So Meath just bet them all over the pitch, So anyway, look, it's going to make for a good, especially because it's knockout now, and there's no Super 8 or anything like that. So it'll make for a good finish, and there's a bit of niggle there with Tyrone and Kerry as well, that'll be good. I think the ticket's going to be very hard to get for this time around because there's only 28,000 for the semi-final. So
Yeah, yeah.
The tickets go to the clubs first. Sure, Mayo will hoover up all. So,
They will.
yeah.
And you'll have half of New York back here as well, if they can get tickets.
Yeah. So, something to look forward to.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, looking forward to it, yes.
And,
Excitement.
yeah, so we need it, yeah. And what was I going to say? The Celtic, I don't know whether you've seen the opening game of the season. You probably didn't because you were down at Gorey.
No, but I see they signed James McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met James when he was playing with Everton.
I met him with you. I was with you.
Yeah, you. That's right. Yeah. I was delighted. He's a great player. Yeah.
No, he's very, very injury prone. Very, very injury prone.
Yeah.
Very injury prone. I don't think he's played 60 days in a row for Everton.
Yeah, well, he was always disappointed that he just didn't make that first team.
Yeah, but this is the thing. We need players that are on the pitch, not on the table.
On the bench.
Well, not on the bench, on the table. And they signed Joe Hart, the goalkeeper as well, the ex-England goalkeeper. So they definitely need a goalkeeper, and they could do with a good defensive midfielder. So
yeah. Could be a good choice, but they haven't spent much money either, you know.
No, and the worry about it is we don't have a striker, you know. At the moment, the in-form striker. We've 3 strikers. Edward, who doesn't seem to want to try a leg. We have...
Didn't he want to leave?
Well, that's what I think he wants to leave.
Yeah,
I just don't get him, like, you know.
That's why he's not trying. Yeah. I mean, he just wants to get away out of it.
Then don't play him. You know, the new manager, why is he playing him? I don't understand it. It's annoying me at the moment. But anyway, I'll try not to let it annoy me. And then I had to top off my weekend. Rovers beat Pats, so I had a really disappointing weekend apart from Dublin.
Well, what about the Olympics? There must have been a little up there. 4 medals so far, you know.
Yeah, well, I watched Kelly Harrington today. She's great.
Yeah, she is. Yeah,
she's absolutely brilliant. Like, you know, and I'd love to see her get the gold. Now she's fighting it.
My God, it'd make it. She was so emotional today. I thought, like, you know, she deserves. You know, I remember we did. I think, you know, women's boxing were always kind of left behind in a lot of ways, money, financially, and everything else. And we did a show for to raise funds for them back. A couple of years ago, I think, in the National Stadium, and I think they have, not because of their money, but it must have helped in some way to highlight the ladies and their efforts in the boxing in the world. And I know Katie Taylor did a lot for it, but you know, there were other people here trying hard, and I'm glad they're getting the recognition now.
Yeah, well, Katie took it to a different level, didn't she? Like, she's just such a superstar in that sport. Yeah. And I'd like to see Kelly Harrington do well now as well. So I'll be getting up to look at her fight on Thursday morning, I think it is. Yeah, I think it's Thursday morning. So I'll get up and give her...
Well, you know, it's great to see the Irish doing well. And we're a very, very small country and a very, very small population. And... you know, we're probably boxing above our weight, are we?
No pun intended.
Yeah, I'm delighted with the fact that we're doing so well. I mean, isn't it marvellous that these people have dedicated their time and effort in their young life to something, and I'm proud of that. Yeah.
And the 2 rowers were great, weren't they? I just love your man. What's his name? Paul O'Donovan. I think it's all part of a show, is it? Or is he just genuine?
No,
like
he's genuine.
Because I think he definitely deflects a lot of pressure off him, you know. Nobody really asks him the tough, hard
He's
questions.
very dry.
Yeah.
And I remember they were on the Graham Norton show, himself and his brother, when they, you know...
They got silver last time. Was it silver?
Yeah. I just thought they were so fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, really were. Yeah. There was no airs and graces about them. They were just great people.
Yeah, and I love people.
Real Irish. Yeah, they're typically Irish, I thought.
I love people that don't give, you know, the usual shit answer. Like, you know, it's just... Yeah. He just like, sure, look, like, that's just... No, we don't.
That's the way it is,
I love it. And because it totally the person who's asking the question is totally thrown. Like, where do I go next? Every question.
Where do I go from here?
Yeah. What sort of question can I get out of this fella? Anyway, we're near 50 minutes, lad.
Do you hear that?
Oh, that's
the sound of beer being pounded.
Sure, I might as well stay on till you finish that. There's not much in fairness.
Yeah, there's not much. It's all bubbles.
On the Coors Light.
Yeah.
So I was down in Carlingford for 2 nights, and I went to my local pub, as I call it now, Lily Fillingham's.
Yeah.
It's a great little boozer. You'd love it. It's right out on the beach. Well, not right out on the beach, but close enough to the beach that you can hear the sea.
Yeah.
And they have seats outside, and they have a big beer garden and stuff like that. And so I was just sitting out the front and talking to the locals, and it was great. And myself and Katrina have become known down there now. So it's great. It feels like a second home now. And I got asked to do a gig up there as well. So
did you? Yeah.
To open up a new guest house.
Oh.
Free beer, food, and accommodation. Jeez, you polished that.
I did.
You're making me thirsty. Well, I'm off for the next few days, so I'm either going to go north or I'm going to go south. I don't know yet. I'll look at the weather forecast.
Yeah, well, I've my mother-in-law coming in from England now.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. And
well, I can't remember.
I bought her a special seat in the plane. It's called an ejector seat.
I can't laugh at that. That's my nanny.
She's going on Ryanair, so she'll be grand.
Yeah.
But
where's she flying from? She's from London City.
She was born in Dublin, and she lived in that house that we went to visit in
Henrietta Street.
Henrietta Street, yeah.
It's now a museum, number 14.
Yeah, it's now a museum, yeah.
Henrietta.
She showed us the room they had and all that. When Dublin was a poverty-stricken place, and still is for a lot of people, but it was during, I guess, the late 20s, 30s, very, very tough times in Ireland, and tough times in Dublin, and Dublin was, totally poverty-stricken. But nonetheless, there were happy people and joyful people, and they always had a crack, Well,
the thing I like, they made the best of it, and they all looked after each other. Now,
the sing songs were...
People will walk past you in the street if you were needing a bit of help,
Yeah.
I think it's terrible the way things have gone now. Like, everybody's just in it for themselves.
Yeah, well, you see, life goes very fast, and as life goes fast, people have a lot of work and a lot of different things to attend to, and
doesn't it?
It doesn't slow down. It goes faster. Anyhow, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I think we'll wrap up. Are we going to play a song on the way out?
Well, I was thinking of doing a Catalpa song this time, because we've done a lot of Wolfetones songs lately. We have to look after the little lads.
Play two.
Okay. Well, what Wolfetones song do you want?
The Merman.
Have we not played that already?
Did we play that? I don't think we did.
I'm pretty sure I did it already.
Oh, did you? Well, then I'll think of something else.
Yeah.
Play John O'Brien.
John O'Brien?
Yeah.
I don't think I have that one.
It's on the Child of Destiny.
All right, okay. All right.
Maybe play the Child of Destiny, because that song is it's about suicide. And we have a lot of that in Ireland among our young people, and of all ages, and especially during the lockup. So always remember, for those who are, suffering depression, the darkness doesn't last forever, and you do come out into the light. And that's what this song is about.
Okay, and on that happy note, we'll sign off for the week.
Well, good luck to you all.
You're 100% right, Dad, though. Okay, so next week we have the song "The Valley of Knockanure." Kerry song, is it?
Kerry song, of course, yeah.
Okay, so we look forward to the Valley of Knockanure and talking a load of rambling stuff.
Rambling on.
And Dad drinking his Coors Light.
There
All
you
right,
go.
Good night, God bless. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.
Bye.
I went last night of you, a child of destiny, but the song remained the same, and it sometimes made me cry. Oh, the words are so sorrowful and sad, as the tide of emotion takes me away from the sea to the shoreline, to the shoreline, to the shoreline. Isn't there hope in the world of love? Isn't there peace at the end of the war? Isn't there stars on the sky above? Isn't there, oh yeah, let me be your love, lullaby. Bent in the night as the stormy seas do blow, and daybreak lights the night round the isle of Peader. Let me drown in the sea, oh the sea of misery, as the tide of emotion takes me away from the sea to the shoreline, to the shoreline, to the shoreline. Isn't there hope in the world of love? Isn't there peace at the end of the war? Isn't there stars in the sky above? Isn't there, oh yeah, let me be your love, lullaby. I see the harbor lights, there's a haven in the night. Oh, take me from the street, be a heaven's guiding light. Take me from the stormy seas to a sea of harmony, as the tide of emotion takes me away from the sea to the shoreline, to the shoreline, to the shoreline. Isn't there hope in the world of love? Isn't there peace at the end of the war? Isn't there stars in the sky above? Isn't there, oh yeah, let me be your love, lullaby. Hear it ring
On the air, it's the voice of my country so fair. Oh, can't you feel? Oh, can't you see that Irishmen will set them free? Hear it ring on the air. It's the voice of my country so fair. Oh, can't you feel? Oh, can't you see? Irishmen will set them free. In the jail that
on the air. It's the voice of my country so fair. Oh, can't you feel? Oh, can't you see? Irishmen will set them free. 'Twas the love of dear old Ireland brought them to this prison hell. But the ghosts of Pearson Conley filled our lonely prison cells. Clark and Plunkett stand beside them. MacDonagh, MacDermott, Wolfetones, and all of Ireland will be singing when we bring our daughters home. Hear it ring on the air. It's the voice of my country so fair. Oh, can't you feel? Oh, can't you see? Irishmen will set them free. So I pray, ye men of Ireland, don't betray our daughters true. Proudly stand beside our heroes, lest they die for me and you. Though the tyrant would deny us, we can break his heart of stone, and all of Ireland will be singing when we bring our daughters home. Hear it ring on the air. It's the voice of my country so fair. Oh, can't you feel? Oh, can't you see? Irishmen will set them free. Hear it ring on the air. It's the voice of my country so fair. Oh, can't you feel? Oh, can't you see?